So just finding a nice comfortable position to get started, whatever that might look like for you, legs crossed or legs out. Find a bit of length through the spine, lift the shoulders up to the ears, roll them down and back. And just doing this a couple of times, maybe closing the eyes, maybe scrunching the shoulders, lifting them up tight, screw the face up, exhale, let it all go. Inhale, pull everything in and up, squeeze and exhale, let everything go. And just take a moment to rest the hands, relax the hips, the legs, the shoulders, the face, the jaw, the forehead, toes and fingers. And just taking these first few moments to forget your day, forget anything that's already happened or anything that might still be laying ahead of you this evening, but just trying to take a moment to find this present moment. So just starting by tuning into your breath. With those eyes closed, breathing in through the nose, filling up the belly deeply. Exhaling through the mouth, allowing the belly to drop back in towards the spine. Inhaling, filling up like a balloon. Exhaling, letting go, relaxing, dropping belly back to spine. So just continue this belly breath in your own time. Just taking a moment to find your breath, your rhythm. Thinking about letting go of any tension on those exhales. Maybe your right hand is on the belly, or maybe both hands are resting in Jnana Mudra, first finger and thumb, making a circle or just touching. Arms up for consciousness, for receiving. And then taking a moment to also practice the Ujjayi breath here. So tongue is pressed against the roof of the mouth is closed, passing the breath through the back of the throat, finding that oceanic hissing sound. You may feel like a snoring sensation or a cat purring or Darth Vader noise, whatever resonates with you. Finding that vibration through the back of the throat, passing the breath on the inhale and the exhale through the throat. Tongue pressed against the roof of the mouth, that bandha, that lock inside the mouth. And using either of these breaths as we work throughout the practice today. So when you're ready, gently blinking open the eyes. And just starting to draw those shoulders up, back and down, taking a few shoulder circles. Lifting the rib cage and dropping, and then starting to notice that as we lift more and as we drop more, we can take that into bigger movements, that seated cat-cow. So exhale, rounding through the spine, maybe dropping the chin to the chest. Inhale, lifting and opening. So more of a wave through the spine. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift and open. So just moving between the two postures in your own time with your breath. Exhale as you round. Inhale, lifting and opening. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift and open. So finding your rhythm, your breath. And coming back to center, just sliding the ribcage to one side, finding that gap, that space between the ribs and the hips, and sliding it across to the other side. So gently moving between both, just finding that little side body stretch and open. Maybe it feels tight, maybe it feels restricted. Maybe you can let more tension go with those exhales. And then we're going to take that into a nice circle of ribs around the hips. So belly dancing, circling, rib cage all the way around. Maybe the head joins in, just allowing it to flow freely as you rotate those ribs. And then reverse your circles. So combining all movements of the spine here, getting that lovely figure of 8 movement. Try not to think too much. Just allow the head to join in, the neck to move if it wishes, and then just coming back to center. We're going to roll over those knees, coming onto all fours. So spreading those hands nice and wide, just grounding through the wrists. I'm going to start to take some circles over the wrists to warm up through the wrists. A few circles in one direction and then reverse those circles, coming back in the opposite direction. Keeping that ujjayi or victorious breath, or just the belly breath, nice and steady and slow. And then just gently rocking forwards and backwards, taking the weight over the wrists. Keeping those fingers gently spread, maybe using fingertips to grip into floor. And then taking your fingers to face the outside edges of your mat. Rocking side to side, opening wrists, shoulders, starting to stretch those forearms and hands. And then continue to circle the fingers round to face the knees, maybe sitting back and hands much closer to the knees now. And you can just rock here or hold this depending on how this feels for your forearms and your wrists. Some people may not be able to get those fingers all around, so just going where you feel you can, maybe sticking to the side-to-side movement. And then sitting back onto toes, so pulling the toes close together, heels as close as possible, lifting up, stretching out the feet, so just circle the wrists, just continuing to warm up those wrists, circling them back in the opposite direction. And whilst we're enjoying that lovely toe stretch, just taking a little bit of eagle arms, so wrapping one elbow over the other, start to lift those elbows up. If you feel good too, just lifting, extending the spine backwards, a little baby back bend. You may drop the head, you may keep that chin tucked to chest in that little gap. Either way, finding the belly breath. A little release to swing and swap the arms, wrap them the other way, lifting as you lift chin and chest, or keeping that chin tucked in, finding a little baby back bend. And release, swing the arms. And release the toes and walk those hands forward, sit the hips back, coming down into a child's pose. So dropping the forehead down, just taking a moment to find that belly breath again. And as we do so, feeling the expansion as we inhale, ribs open, chest opens, back of the body expands. Exhale, we might sink onto our knees, onto our thighs. Walking the hands to the left side of your mat, place the right hand on top, drop the head through the gap. Finding that lovely side body lengthening. And then walking the hands over to the right side, left hand on top, place that head through the gap. Taking a breath here, walking back to center. Just start to roll up, weight over those wrists. Tuck the toes and just start to lift the hips and walk the hands back to the feet. So we're coming to that dangling pose. Feet can be as hip distance wide or a little bit wider, grabbing hold of opposite elbows, maybe swinging and swaying here. Maybe those swings and sways are forwards and backwards. Or maybe you just enjoy some stillness in your dangling position. Reconnecting to that breath. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Make sure the neck is relaxed, a little nod yes or no. Then you can use this at any time when we're in down dog, just to let go of neck tension as well. Release the arms and then roll through the vertebrae one at a time. So tuck the pelvis under, restack the spine one vertebra at a time, rolling up nice and slowly. Head, neck and shoulders are the last things to come up. We're going to come to the fronts of our mats if we're not already there. Spreading the toes nice and wide, grounding through those feet. And maybe just do this a couple of times with toes, spread them wide, place them back down. Can you place them down one toe at a time? Big toe mounds, touch a little gap between the heels, a little soft in the knees, tuck the pelvis under, reach the shoulders down and back, finding our Tadasana, our mountain pose. Maybe closing the eyes, just connecting to the ground for that moment of stillness. Feeling any energy coming from, feeling that strength, that support under the feet. On the inhale, lift the arms, open the eyes, extended mountain, exhaling, diving forwards into that forward fold. Inhale, fingertips or shins for that nice flat back. Exhale as you fold. Stepping back for that first one. First sun salutation. Maybe dropping the knees if you need. Squeeze the elbows into lower the chest fully. Roll the shoulders back and up. Lifting into up dog if you feel ready. Exhale. Push those hips back into down dog. And just for the first one, give yourself a moment to walk through the heels one at a time. So pushing that floor away. Fully with those arms, shoulder blades spread wide, hands underside of knuckles grounding into the floor, heels of the hands pushing in. Just find stillness, one breath, maybe a little nod, yes or no. Inhale, look between the hands, bend the knees, step or jump the feet to the hands, come to that halfway lift. Exhale as you fold. Sweep the arms wide enough. Exhaling. Back to Tadasana, asana, stick the E. Inhale to lift, Sura, Namaska, A. Sun salutation, A. Exhale, fold. Inhale, fingertips or shins, flat back. Exhale to fold. Step, or if you're ready to jump, jump, but land in your chaturanga, your hover. Rolling over toes or flipping feet. Up dog, exhale, push back into down dog. So finding the breath, reconnecting using belly breath or ujjayi breath here. And just actively lift the arches of your feet. Roll those knees in line. Don't allow them to drop in. Push the floor strong. Shoulder blades separating. One more breath. Looking between the hands, bend the knees, step or jump the feet to the hands. Come to that halfway lift, exhale as you fold. Sweep the arms wide enough. Over Tadasana, exhaling back to Tadasana. Sura Namaskar, sit the bottom back, sweep the arms forward or up, tuck that tailbone under. Exhale as you fold. Inhale, fingertips or shins. Exhale to fold. Step or again jump, but land in your chaturanga, rolling over toes if it feels good. Up dog. Exhale, push hips high and back. Down dog. Left foot turns 45 degrees. Bring the right foot between the hands. Give a little help if you need. Inhale, sweeping up, warrior one. Just take a breath there. Bend into that front knee. We'll hold it for one round. Inhale, frame that front foot with the hands, lift the foot behind, drop knees if you need, squeeze elbows, chaturanga. Inhale, lift the chest up, dog. Exhale, push hips back, down dog. Right foot turns 45 degrees. Bring the left foot between the hands, give a little help if you need. Inhale, warrior one. Bending into that front knee, finding one breath here. Bring those hands to frame the front foot, lift the foot behind, exhale to lower. Inhale, shins lift, chest open. Exhale, pushing back into your down dog. So take this time to rest in your down dog, to find the breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth, letting go on the exhale. One more breath. Looking between the hands, bend the knees, step or jump the feet to the hands, come to that halfway lift. Exhale as you fold. Sitting the bottom back, sweeping the arms up, tuck the shoulders down and back, tailbone tucks under. We're going to stay for one extra breath. Building that internal fire with the breath, with the holds. Let's do one more. In through the nose, filling up, exhaling, letting go, and releasing. So we're going to come to our standing hand to foot pose. So inhale, start to maybe squeeze, have a little baby back there, a little stretch. Exhale, tipping from the hips, feet shoulder distance apart, hip distance apart. Grabbing hold of big toes, make a little circle with your peace fingers and thumb. Inhale, flat back, exhale, draw elbows wide, draw chin to shin.
Finding that belly breath. Actively drawing the head down. Actively lifting hips towards the sky. One more breath here. Release fingers. Inhale, come to the flat back. This time placing hands underneath the soles of the feet. So bending the knees as much as you need to place those palms under the soles, toes into wrists. We can inhale, start to lift the hips, drop the head, relax that head down. Only lifting hips as high as you can here, keeping knees as bent as much as you need. Really feeling that nice upper back lengthening, almost trying to pull the hands from under the feet, but work those toes and feet into the wrists and hands. One more round of breath. Untucking fingers and toes. Inhale, hands on hips, lifting the head, exhaling, coming all the way to stand. Coming back to Tadasana. We're going to come into triangle pose. So we're going to take the left foot to step back, right foot becomes our front leg. So open out the hips and shoulders to the long edge of your mat, arms are long. Send the left hip backwards, reach the right arm forwards, tipping over that front leg, coming into our triangle pose. We're trying to stack the arms in a nice straight line. We might look to that top hand, we might look to the bottom, hand or foot. Our drishti, our eye gaze. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Feeling that opening of the chest, tucking of the tailbone underneath. One more breath here. Big inhale, use that top arm to come back up. We're going to just change the cross of the feet. The right foot turns in slightly, left foot faces the front or the short edge of your mat. The back might be your back of your mat. Send your right hip backwards, reach forwards over that left leg, tilt and tip to find the straight arms for the line. Straight lines for the arms. Looking up, opening chest, tucking tailbone under. Imagine you're squeezing between two panes of glass. Finding deep belly breaths. Our breath helps us to hold each posture, to feel into each posture. In through the nose, out through the mouth. On the inhale, use that top arm to come back up. Turn to face the front of your mat. Big step back to center, coming into your Tadasana, your mountain pose. Then come to revolved triangle. Your right foot will be your front foot. Your left foot will be slightly turned out, step back, but facing your front leg. So from here, taking the left arm up, we're going to reach forwards to find length, and take that left hand on the outside of your right leg. Start to revolve. You can bring the hand to the lower back. It might wrap round, or maybe we find that straight line. So pushing into both feet to feel the grounding, feel the strength. Using the left hand to help you twist and rotate, finding the belly breath. One more breath. We're going to cartwheel open the arms, change the cross of the feet, so make sure the hips are now square to the other short edge of your mat. Reach the right arm up and forwards over that left leg, placing it on the outside. Maybe the hand stays on hip, onto the lower back to wrap perhaps, or stacking those arms in line, looking up or down if that's more comfortable, or you feel you need a bit of balance here. One more breath, revolved triangle. Inhale, wimble those arms back up, stepping back to the front of your mat for your mountain pose. Samasthiti or Tadasana. My favourite position, we're taking extended side angles. So the right foot's our front foot, and it's facing the short edge of our mat, and we're bending into that right knee, back foot just turned in just from 90 degrees. Open out shoulders and chest to the long edge of your mat. Sinking over that front leg, reaching forwards, either coming to rest, elbow to knee, finding that long line, that extended side angle. Fingers all the way down to toes. Drop the hips if you need to here, reach a little bit further. Keep the chest backwards and open. We can stay here, or the Ashtanga variation, we take that hand down the back of the front leg. Finding the breath, bicep to ear. One more breath. Big inhale, straighten that front leg. Coming back through almost warrior two, just turn, cross of the feet, left foot becomes our front foot bending into the left knee, right foot slightly turned in. Thinking, keeping chest and shoulders and hips open to long edge. Reach forwards, come to rest. Using that elbow, right arm, bicep to ear. Find your long line. Maybe that hand comes down the back of the leg. Don't drop the shoulders, chest opens. Find the breath, squeeze into the glutes, push the knee wide. Find every deep belly breath. Maybe looking up to that top hand, big inhale, straighten out the front leg, step change the feet to face the front of your mat. Big step in. Coming back to mountain pose. So let's go to revolved side angle. So this time, step back with the left foot, keep the heel lifted, right knee bends, coming to a high lunge. I'm going to take the left arm up, find some space, reach forward, take the left elbow to the outside of that right knee. Maybe the hands come to prayer, we use that hands to heart center. We can stay here or we start to open arms out. Top arm, bicep to ear again, finding deep belly breath. You find you're sagging in that back leg, push into the heel, lift the back knee. One more breath. Windmill, open the arms. You can change the cross of the feet or step the back foot in, your choice. So lifting that right heel, that back leg, sinking into the left knee. Inhale, lift to find length. Extend over that front leg. Right elbow to left knee, hands to prayer. Rotate the chest to the hands. Push into that back heel. Lift the back knee, maybe opening arms. Finding the breath. We're still in that extended side angle, that long angle. Hand all the way down through shoulder, hip, foot. And we're breathing. And then when we'll open the arms, face the front of your mat, big step back in. And exhale in your mountain pose. So coming to pyramid pose next. So left foot steps back, just slightly a very short stance. Now keep those hips square to the short edge of your mat. We're going to grab hold of hands, forearms, elbows, reverse prayer down or reverse prayer up. So keeping both hips evenly backwards, try not to twist as we come in here. Inhale, lift the final length, tipping from the hips. So maybe we stay at that 90 degrees with that lovely flat back. If we can continue to fold with the back flat, we keep folding. If we start to round, we know we need to just come back to where that back stays flat. Shoulders away from ears, little fingers pushing into spine. Allow yourself to fold with every exhale. Inhale, fill up belly, exhale. Finding a little bit more depth if it's there for you. Only going into what your body allows. A little soft bend in that front knee if you feel it locking out. One more breath here. Inhale. Start to lift with the head. Keep the arms where they are. Heel toe. Change the cross with the feet to face the back of your mat. Again, square off those hips. Open, looking up maybe a little bit, lifting the chin, finding length through the spine. Folding and tipping from the hip. Finding that 90 degrees, that flat back. If you can fold further, keeping that spine straight. Coming to where you feel resistance, not pain. Just square off those hips. If you feel the hips come with you, just re-square those hips. Use those lovely exhales to draw over that front leg. One more breath. On an inhale, lift with the head. Turn to face the front of your mat. Release those shoulders, step back into mountain pose, maybe releasing, shoulders rolling through. We're going to come to a little bit of standing balance now. We're going to come to our standing half lotus. So grounding through the left toes, make sure the hip isn't hanging out, bring it in line. Find that nice long line through the left side of the body. Bring the right knee, hugging it into chest and staying at any point of these preparation moves. So you can hug it a little bit further up If you want to just stay and hang out in any of these stretches, then do heel to bottom. Bring the leg back to center, lift the knee wide, lift the heel towards the belly button, and then back onto the opposite hip, keeping heel as close to the hip crease as possible. Keep hold with the left hand, right arm wraps around to find the elbow. Maybe it finds the forearm, maybe it finds the foot. So trying to actively draw the knee down. Alternative here could be tree pose. And trying to keep eye gaze focused on something that's not moving. Finding deep belly breaths, lifting through the crown of the head. Releasing the arm first, release the ankle, give it a little circle, give the knee a little rub if it needs, and that standing foot might need a little circle over the toes and release. So coming onto right foot, keep that hip in line, pull it in and under. Inhale, bring the knee to chest, give it a big hug, big squeeze, lift it up high, and draw that foot behind, trying to keep knee in line, knee and hip, foot to bottom. Bring the leg back to center, drop the knee wide, lift the heel up and away towards the belly button, then up on top of that opposite thigh. Keep hold with the right hand, squeeze the elbow in close, left arm wraps to find elbow, maybe forearm, maybe foot, maybe toes. Next stage of this, if you can grab toes with the left hand, then you could pretend I've got my toes, we could release the right hand and fold forward. So just lifting up through crown of head, pushing actively that left knee down. One more breath. Release the ankle, give it a little circle, knee a little rub, and then just roll over toes of standing leg to release. So coming into standing hand to foot pose, ground through the left, lift the right knee. So grab hold of the big toes, same hand, same foot, wrap those fingers round, peace fingers around the big toe. Start to extend the leg forwards. Keep those shoulders lifted, chest open, crown lifting towards the ceiling. Doesn't matter if that leg's bent. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Finding another round of breath here. Start to take the leg wide. Open through the chest, lift the crown of the head towards the sky. Doesn't matter if you wobble, come back in. Breathing deeply, keep that eye gaze fixed on something that's not moving. Keep smiling, keep the leg lifted, bring it back to center, squeeze through the thigh, release through the hands. Push that foot as far as you can, out, pointing, flexing, floating, breathing, squeezing, lifting, and releasing. Give that leg a little massage if it needs. Never gets easier, this move. So grounding through those right toes, lift the left knee, find the same hand to wrap those peace fingers around the big toe, lift the chest, start to extend the leg long. Imagine you're putting your foot on the wall in front of you. Keep the chest open, head lifted, and breathe. One more round of breath. Start to take the leg wide, keep that chest open. Finding those deep belly breaths, keep the crown lifting towards the sky. One more round of breath here, pushing hand to foot, foot to hand. And then bring that hand, foot back to center, release through the hand. Keep that leg lifted, squeeze through the thigh, maybe pointing, maybe flexing, maybe floating. Breathing, smiling, relaxing the shoulders. 3, 2, 1. And you guys massage those thighs a little bit, give them a little release. So coming back to the front of your mat, shoulders down and back, finding mountain pose just for a moment, closing the eyes. Just tune back into the breath. It may be a little bit faster right now. It's just me. Inhale, opening the eyes, lift the arms. Exhaling, diving forwards into your forward fold. Inhale, fingertips or shins. Exhale as you fold. So stepping or jumping back through chaturanga. Rolling forwards, opening chest. Exhale, hips high and back. And when you hit your down dog, just taking any adjustments in your down dog just to hold, just for a couple of breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Neck relaxed. On an inhale, look between the hands, bend the knees, and we can either work on a little bit of bunny hopping here, little holds, maybe little just bunny hops, or maybe just hopping the feet to the hands, or working on that float through of jumping feet through the hands, to the hands, or coming to a seated position, any which way you would like. So once we hit our seated position, we're going to come into our Dandasana, our staff pose. So feet are out in front. Just ground through the fleshy parts, remove those fleshy parts, sorry, ground through the sit bones. Pull the toes back, spread the toes. Squeeze to lift the heels, lift through the chest, shoulders down and back, finding that beautiful L shape. Finding our breath, sitting up really tall, using all those core muscles just to keep us tall, our spine straight and strong. Keep spreading toes, keep squeezing to lift the heels, bridging any gap below that knee. Find belly breath, ujjayi breath. Inhale, reach the arms. Exhaling, tipping from the hips, folding forwards into Paschimottanasana. Allowing each exhale to draw that chin closer to the shins, looking to our big toe. We want to keep that spine straight. The shoulders might need to be drawn down and back. Even closing the eyes here. Allowing each exhale to just gently take you a little bit deeper. One more breath. On an inhale, start to walk the hands back up. Draw that right knee in, take the leg round and wide. Draw that calf muscle out of the way and just re-sit both sit bones down to the ground. If the knees need to be wider, they can. The heel needs to be away from the hip, it can be. It's your choice, your body. Inhale, keep those left toes pulled towards you. Exhaling, folding forwards. We may come to rest on the sides of the legs. We may wrap the hands round that front foot. So again, we're tipping from the hips, we're folding, we're finding length from the spine. A half saddle pose, Triangle Ekapadma Paschimottanasana. Or saddle pose, half saddle. With the forward fold. So finding those deep, deep belly breaths, that ujjayi breath, looking to our big toe, our drishti, our eye gaze is here, actively pulling toes back towards us. One more breath. Walk those hands back up to lift the chest, roll away from the bent knee, give it help if you need. Give the knee a little rub, ankle, a little circle to release. So bring that left foot in front. If you can lift and swap legs, or just lift and lower the bottom and swap legs. Right, left leg comes in, draw it round behind, move the calf muscle out of the way, re-sit those sit bones evenly onto the ground. Adjust the knees accordingly. Pull those right toes back, lift through the crown of the head. Turn towards our right leg, folding forwards, either coming to rest or wrapping hands around the foot. If you can reach easily, maybe wrap and clasp the other side of that foot. So trying to keep shoulders square across our long leg, looking to our big toe. Always, always reconnecting back to that belly breath, that ujjayi breath. Either or, a mixture of the two, it doesn't matter, but always drawing breath into the belly in whichever method. One more breath. And then on an inhale, start to walk yourself back up. Give that leg a little help back round if you need. The knee a little rub, ankle a little circle to release. So the right foot comes in, lift and swap to left leg out, right knee in. I'm going to drop that right knee wide, keep it into the inside of the thigh, and just again re-sit onto the fronts of your sit bones. Pull that long leg back to square off hips. Inhale, lift, turn towards the left leg, folding over that left leg. And again, maybe coming to rest or reaching round, left toes, drawing chin to shin. Elbows might draw wide to help you lower down. Shoulders staying square, looking to our big toe. So Janusasana. Really good to release those lower backs. You probably feel it there. You may just feel the back of that long leg, depends where your tightness is. Trying to draw that right knee down and wide. One more breath. Inhale, release, push yourself back up. Left leg in front, little lift. See if you can come into the same position with the left leg down the right leg. Straight and just remove any fleshy parts. Draw that right hip back to square it off. Lift through the chest. Turn towards that right leg, folding forwards, either just coming to rest or reaching round to find those hands around the long leg. Squeeze the top of the thigh. You'll see as I squeeze that, it bridges that gap underneath my knee. Using those deep belly breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Letting go of anything that's restricting you here, holding you back. One more breath. Releasing, pushing yourself back up. And draw that right foot in front. Little lift just to reset the spine and pop the sit bones back down. I'm going to roll over the knees and just walk those hands back, feet back, knees back into our kind of crouching position to take a little bit of headstand practice. So bringing those forearms down so we can come into some different variations if you don't want to take headstand. So elbows wide. Just tap the elbows, make sure they're not too wide. Replace the hands. Interlace the fingers and remove the little finger out of the way, so don't leave it underneath. Pop it in line so we can push both edges of the little finger onto the floor. Pop the head into that little cradle and keep those hips over the knees. And maybe we just stay here. Maybe this feels good to just take a gentle inversion without going upside down. Or we tuck the toes, we start to lift the hips and walk those feet in, taking the weight onto the arms, not just the head, the arms are pushing. I can in fact lift my head off. So all the arms, shoulder blades are pushing away from one another, the strength comes in here. Maybe we stay, maybe we start to tip, lifting the hips. Maybe we draw one knee in, maybe one foot off the floor, maybe both. Trying to find feet on top of hips, knees bent to begin with, and then playing. It's your turn to play, your time to play. Maybe doing this with a sofa behind you if you feel you need, or with a wall behind you. Maybe taking one leg up first. Feet might be flexed, they might be pointed, they might be flointed. Wherever you are, moving slowly, squeezing through glutes to find those long lines. So in the Ashtanga primary series, 10 breaths. Ideally, taking however you want to practice today. If you'd like to come to L shape here, start to bring the feet down. Tip the hips slightly further over the other side to counterbalance. See if you can see your toes. And you know you're probably around the right L shape. Keep breathing deeply here. 5 breaths here. If you'd like to go back up, going back up for another 5 breaths, and you're ready to come down, always coming into child's pose to release. So once you've had enough of your headstand, dropping into child's pose, popping the head onto the floor, release the arms, those shoulders come round, hands grab the feet, and shoulders drop forwards. So just slowing the breath down. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Just slowing it all back down. Always coming to child's pose before you come up after a headstand. So when you're ready, just pushing into the hands, start to lift the head slowly to come up onto the knees. So we're going to come over onto our backs now. So we can work our way through a very slow vinyasa if we'd like. Maybe staying on the knees or coming to plank, your choice, lowering down slowly, maybe all the way to the floor. Maybe it's a baby cobra rather than a full up dog. Maybe enjoy a little side stretch, looking over the shoulders, just to get a little extra movement here, opening the throat. We can push back instead of lifting those hips straight up and then come to down dog just for a moment, just for one round of breath. Stepping, jumping, floating or walking those feet through the hands to a seated position, no matter how you get there. And just taking a moment in our seated position, roll those shoulders down and back, lift through the chest, squeeze those knees together. We're just going to come to boat pose for one round. So this might be boat pose, feet might be on the floor or just hovering. Arms might be straight, shoulders down and back. Keep that V shape with the body going around through the spine. The lifting, maybe we lift one leg, maybe we lift both, maybe we're 90 degrees, maybe the hands help us balance to lift to straighten the legs. Finding your variation of boat pose, maybe we can release. We're going to stay for 5 deep breaths. If you need to rest, come back in, do. If you need to bend knees, if you need to change position, do. But see if you can keep that breath. 3, 2, 1. And slowly release. Just easy cross of the legs. And have a few seated cat-cows. Exhale, round. Inhale, lift and open. Exhale, round. And then slowly find your way onto your back. So whether you want to challenge yourself one more time for that core, rolling down nice and slowly, controlling all the way to the floor until you hit the floor. So just taking a moment to windscreen the wiper when you get there. Knees or feet are wide, knees are rolling side to side. And maybe the head rolls to the opposite side, so looking away from the knees as you gently windscreen wiper. One knee in, one knee out. So we're just going to take a couple of yin poses to slow the body down. So yin, we're holding each posture for a little bit longer. We're going to stick with the Ashtanga series in our yin poses. So if you feel comfortable to, we're going to come into our shoulder stand, our plow. If plow is not for you, alternative is to come to waterfall. So hands just rest underneath the hips, feet coming up, finding 90 degrees. And you can also pop your legs against the wall here. Shuffle your bum in nice and close. So you can stay here for a few minutes, or we're coming into plow pose. So we lift up, keep the chin tucked to the chest, we roll those hips up and back, and we start to find that tall shoulder stand, and then start to take the legs over the top. Now some people's plow pose might be here, we might start to drop the legs, they may be bent, they may be straight, they may be halfway between. Don't turn to look as I have done, but finding your variation. You might stay supported, your arms may come wide. If you wish to interlace fingers, coming here, if you feel comfortable enough to hold. But we're here for a couple of minutes, so just find where you feel you can stay. So it's one of the more juicy yin poses we use. And yin is about slowing down, it's about finding that stillness. It's about surrendering to that moment. So still trying to find those deep belly breaths. It may feel hard now, that diaphragm is all crunched together, bunched up. Maybe you get pins and needles or uncomfortable feelings in the legs. If anything becomes painful, knowing you can move, you can always move out of these postures. You can come back to the alternatives given, or just a child's pose. But that's what our breath is here for. If it's just discomfort, we are using that breath to help us work through our discomfort and relax and let go. So just, if those arms are loose, just allow them to be. Allow the fingers to roll in gently. If your toes are on the floor, or maybe a cushion behind you, or a bolster if you have one, just find support in these yin postures so that you can surrender, you can let go. Just allow the body to be still. Allow the mind to be still. Just allow yourself to be. You are here, and there's nowhere else you are meant to be right now. Just keeping that mind focused on breathing in and breathing out. So as we begin to slow the body, you may notice we begin to slow the mind. That mind-body connection. Mind, body and soul are all connected. You cannot affect one without affecting the other. So maybe just beginning to open eyes if they're not already. And if you need to support yourself as we move out of this, you can bring those hands to the small of the back. Or the hands or arms pushed into the floor. So maybe start by bending the knees. Keep the knees close to the forehead. Use the tummy muscles. Use the arms into the floor to slowly roll that spine back down. One vertebrae at a time. We're going to come into a little fish pose to counter all that flexion of the spine we've done. So bring the hands underneath the low back, roll the shoulders wide and come onto the elbows in the back of the head. We just start to lift the chin up towards the ceiling, the legs can straighten out. So that little fish pose just to counter our plow pose, our full folded shoulder stand. It's quite an extreme flexion of the spine, so just extending the spine the other way for a few moments. And for our second yin posture, we're going to take, again, two variations. Now, if you have bolsters or pillows to hand, and you feel like this is enough extension for you, maybe just propping yourself with a pillow, with a bolster, or a block to stay here. If you need, or if you do have a block or a bolster, we can bring the block underneath the small of the back, or the bolster or cushion under the small of the back, and we will rest in a bridge pose. So using that fish pose if you prefer, or we're going to come to bridge. So just make sure when we come back, it might be easier to have the block by your side. Coming here, feet close to the hips, feet hip distance apart. Shoulders down the back and just tuck that chin to chest again. So as we lift the hips, we can bring the block underneath, across the hips to allow those hips to fully relax onto, fully open. The block can, of course, be on any height, or you can add extra pillows or bolsters, whatever you have at home, to allow yourself to relax. And if you don't have anything to prop yourself up, use that fish pose. Just stay there with that back extension. Or fold yourself, lie back on a pillow. It can be just more about the upper back opening as well. It doesn't have to be the lower back. So looking down the body, we'll see that rise the belly on the inhale, that drop of the belly on the exhale. And if this isn't enough, or it is enough and you want to shift and swap the block, you can if you have the block. So of course you can lift up, so squeeze the hips to lift the hips a little bit higher, then place the block, wriggle, release shoulders, make sure chin is tucked to chest if you want that higher extension. So again, closing down the eyes, finding deep belly breaths. Maybe the ujjayi breath here, that throat is closed already, naturally in this position. So maybe pressing the tongue against the roof of the mouth. Passing the breath through the throat might feel nice here. Ujjayi breath is great for thyroid, great for throat, tickly coughs, phlegm, etc. And with that bandha, that tongue lock, It helps to control thirst and hunger. So we'll just stay here for a couple more moments. If you do need to lower your block, your bolsters, your pillows, always lift up on the toes, come down to take it a little bit lower for the last few moments. If you need to release already, then coming out whenever you're ready. And again, gently windscreen wiping the knees when you release. You can stay for another few moments or release. Roll the neck in the opposite direction, gently unwinding that spine. And maybe if it feels good to hug the knees into the chest, hugging the knees in gently, wrapping those arms, seeing if you can give those knees a really tight squeeze in. And we're going to find our way to Shavasana. So maybe your Shavasana comes to more of a butterfly position, knees wide, soles of the feet together. Maybe you support under the knees with any pillows to hand, or maybe you come to our traditional corpse pose. Heels in, toes rolling out, shoulders down and back, chin gently tucked to chest. Arms nice and wide, fingertips gently curling inwards. Eyes closed. Focusing the mind on that belly breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Filling up deeply, letting go fully. Maybe taking a couple of rounds of that cleansing exhale, filling up deeply. Letting the belly drop towards the spine, exhaling with a sigh. Softening the face, allowing every part of the back of your body to feel the floor, to be fully supported, connected and accepted by Mother Earth, grounding us, always there, our home, our security, our safety. Just feeling all support rising up through the back of the body, flooding the front of the body. As it fills you up on the inhale, coming into every part of every corner of the inside of your body. As you exhale, it takes with it anything you no longer wish to hold on to, any feelings, any fear, anxiety, stress, anything you wish to let go of. Blow it away into the clouds. Allow it to be taken. Permission to let go. Fill up with the good stuff. Exhale. Let go of the bad. Just taking the last few moments of complete stillness. And then if it feels nice to circle the wrists, so wriggle the toes, wriggle the fingers, circling ankles. Just gently start to come back to your body, come back to the room that you're in. Maybe lengthen the heels away, reach the hands overhead for a full body stretch, or hug the knees into the chest. And roll onto the right hand side, just taking a moment here, supporting your head with your hand, taking a moment to hug yourself in a little ball, give yourself thanks for your practice today. And then gently start to walk yourself up to seated position.
Whatever that looks like, facing whichever way you end up facing. Eyes can stay closed, chin tucked to chest, shoulders away from ears, length through the spine. Big deep inhale, filling up the belly. Exhaling with a sigh, letting it all go. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling, letting go. If your eyes aren't already open, blinking them open. Inhale, reach the arms up. Giving thanks for your practice. Exhaling the hands down through heart center. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me. As always, a complete pleasure.